We start here in Japan, where officials are grappling with rising coronavirus cases as Tokyo, Osaka, and 2 other prefectures remain under a state of emergency. Experts blame the surge on a more infectious variant. Tokyo officials confirmed 925 new infections on Wednesday. It's the first time in 3 months that the daily tally has topped 900. 53 people in the capital are in serious condition. Experts monitoring the situation in Tokyo say a more transmissible variant with the N501Y mutation accounted for more than half of infections earlier this month. The strain was first detected in the UK. Experts estimate that the variant now accounts for more than 80% of new cases in the Osaka area. Officials in the Western Prefecture confirmed a record 1,260 new cases on Wednesday.
We are facing a completely different situation because of the variant. Our medical system is under extremely serious strain.
All hospital beds allocated for serious COVID-19 patients in Osaka are occupied. Ahead of a week-long holiday starting on Thursday, authorities asked 5 university hospitals in the prefecture to postpone operations and secure more beds for coronavirus patients. Nationwide, officials are urging people to stay home during the holiday to stay safe. And the head of the government's advisory panel has called for discussions on whether to hold the Tokyo Olympics and Paralympics as scheduled. They're currently set to begin in July and August.
The infection situation and the strain on the medical system are crucial factors. It is high time that we should take those elements into consideration and start discussing them in the context of the Games.
Across Japan, health authorities confirmed more than 5,700 new infections on Wednesday. 50 deaths were reported. The coronavirus continues to create serious question marks for Tokyo 2020 organizers. They met Wednesday, and all relevant parties confirmed they would make a final decision in June on the number of domestic spectators allowed. Overseas spectators have already been banned. IOC President Thomas Bach doubled down on the committee's support for Tokyo's current state of emergency.
The IOC is fully committed to the successful and safe delivery of the Olympic and Paralympic Games, Tokyo 2020. And for all of us, it means ensuring safe Olympic Games, means also ensuring safety of the Japanese people.
After the meeting, Tokyo Games head Hashimoto Seiko said the Games could be held without spectators depending on the situation of the coronavirus and its impact on medical services.
We are determined to make a last-minute decision to go without spectators if necessary. But if the situation permits, we hope that many people are able to come and see the events.
Japan's Minister for the Games, Marukawa Tamayo, responded to an earlier comment from the government advisory panel chief, who said it was time to consider the current situation in the context of the Games.
We are fully aware there are concerns that people's movement could trigger the spread of infections and burden the medical system. We will work closely with experts and thoroughly discuss this matter.
If domestic spectator numbers are restricted, the Tokyo Games will see a sharp drop in revenue from lost ticket sales. Organizers had expected 10 million tickets could bring in $825 million in revenue. Ahead of the meeting, the central government decided on antivirus guidelines for people associated with the Games. Athletes and coaches from overseas will be exempt from the 14-day quarantine so that they can start training right away. But they will be required to take 2 tests within 96 hours of leaving their home country. They'll be tested again on arrival and every day during their stay. They also have to stick to their accommodation, practice, and match venues. We now turn to India, which is struggling to control the latest outbreak. New Delhi has confirmed another record high of daily infections and deaths, with the country's healthcare system overwhelmed. The government says more than 360,000 new cases were confirmed on Wednesday. That marks the largest ever daily tally and the 7th straight day that the number of new cases has topped 300,000. The daily death toll stood at a record high 3,293, topping 3,000 for the first time. In the capital, New Delhi, intensive care wards are almost full to capacity. Medical oxygen remains in short supply, with many patients unable to have access to ventilators. The government has ordered manufacturers to step up the production of oxygen. In neighboring Nepal, the daily tally of new cases has surged past 4,000. Experts attribute the spike to the coronavirus variant that's been identified in India. Strict restrictions on outings are set to take effect in the capital, Kathmandu, from Thursday. Now to the topic of nuclear power plants here in Japan. The governor of Fukui Prefecture on the Sea of Japan coast has announced he approves the restarts of 3 aging nuclear reactors. All are more than 40 years old. That would make them the first to be in service beyond 40 years since that limit was set in principle. Governor Sugimoto Tatsuji said at a news conference on Wednesday that the prefecture has done its own safety assessment. It also confirmed the stances of the central government and the plant operator, Kansai Electric Power Company.
We are fully aware that there are still concerns among people in the prefecture about restarting the plants. We would like the operator to conduct inspections and take safety measures even more meticulously and establish a solid system that includes related companies to deal with the situation carefully.
Following the meltdown at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant in 2011, the operation of reactors has been limited to 40 years in principle. But old reactors may still be allowed to stay in service for up to 60 years if they pass screening by the Nuclear Regulation Authority. The number 1 and number 2 reactors at Fukui's Takahama plant have cleared such screening. So has the number 3 reactor at the Mihama plant. The 2 municipalities that host the plants approved the restarts earlier this year. The prefectural assembly followed suit. Kansai Electric plans to put any one of the reactors back online as soon as it's ready. Meanwhile, Japan's nuclear regulators have officially approved a plan to scrap all 4 reactors at a plant near the damaged Fukushima Daiichi plant. Fukushima Dai-2 plant is located about 12 kilometers south of the crippled plant. Both facilities are operated by Tokyo Electric Power Company. TEPCO plans to decommission the Dai-2 plant over a 44-year period. It estimates it'll take 22 years to extract about 10,000 units of fuel rods from the pools for spent fuel. The spent fuel will be reprocessed for recycling. TEPCO plans to build a dry storage facility to store some of the fuel in metal containers. The decommissioning is expected to generate about 50,000 tons of radioactive waste. The total cost is seen topping $2.5 billion. TEPCO says it wants to win local support for the plan before deciding when to begin. Nuclear regulators urged the utility to carry out the plan on schedule while proceeding with the work to scrap the damaged Fukushima Daiichi plant. It's time now for a check on world weather with our meteorologist, Sayaka Mori. Thursday is a national holiday in Japan, but it's likely to be a stormy one for much of the country. Sayaka has more on the threats we're facing.
Hello there. Weather has been so dry that several forest fires have ignited since last week in Japan, but a big change has arrived. We have a low and the attached fronts already affecting western portions of Japan with heavy rainfall. Now, to the system, warm and also humid air will be surging in from the south. The Pacific side will mainly see stormy conditions on your Thursday, possibly into Friday. The heaviest rain is likely to fall in the Tokai region, where about 350 millimeters rain is possible. Even the Kanto Koshin region could see up to 250 millimeters of rain. That's pretty heavy. That could lead to flooding as well as landslides. The opposite side of the nation, the Sea of Japan side, will likely see another problem. Conditions will remain quite unstable for the next several days. We might see thunderstorms. Even hail is in the forecast for the next several days. Sapporo will start to see unstable conditions on your Friday and remain cool and also wet into next Monday. Tokyo will remain stormy into Friday, and then sunny weather is expected to come back on Saturday. Temperatures will be on the high side. Now, the Middle East is one of the driest regions on Earth. Saudi Arabia's Mecca only receives 110 millimeters rain a year. That's 1/15 of the annual rainfall for Tokyo, but the area saw huge rainfall earlier this week. Take a look at this video. Heavy rainfall caused flooding in several Saudi provinces, including Mecca. In the footage posted on Tuesday, you can see water almost covering cars parked on the street. Social media was flooded with videos of rain as people were excited about the uncommon weather. There is a possibility of rainfall in the Arabian Peninsula, especially over Oman, Yemen, as well as the southern portions of Saudi Arabia. The conditions remain almost dry for the next several days for many places. Mecca will stay almost dry for the next 3 days, and there's a chance for thunderstorms on Sunday. That's it for me. Stay safe.
Singapore sends 2 airplanes filled with oxygen tanks to India in an effort to provide urgent medical aid for COVID-19 patients. Ireland's government confirms an Irish citizen was killed with 2 Spanish reporters in an attack by unidentified gunmen in Burkina Faso. In Cambodia, the government extends for 1 week a ban on people leaving their homes in Phnom Penh to control COVID-19. And in Tokyo, organizers and the International Olympic Committee move ahead with plans to open the Tokyo Olympics in less than 3 months.
There's growing evidence that the official death toll in India's COVID crisis is a massive underestimate. The number of reported deaths is nearly 200,000, but crematorium figures show the number could be twice as high. Tens of thousands of Indians have been struggling to register for a mass coronavirus vaccination program due to start next month, after the website set up by the government crashed soon after it was launched. The UK's Electoral Commission has launched a formal investigation into how Prime Minister Boris Johnson paid for the refurbishment of his Downing Street flat. The Commission said it had reasonable grounds to suspect that 1 or more offences had occurred. And the Apollo 11 astronaut Michael Collins has died at the age of 90. He orbited the moon in the command module as his crewmates Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin walked on the surface in 1969.